It's cracking me up. There's a voice. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can. Where it now says this meeting is being recorded. It didn't happen before and it's happening now. It makes me giggle every time. Anyway, this is me and I'm back. I'm so sorry that I've had days off. It feels like weeks. I do find a peace and a bliss giving out these daily energy stroke tarot readings, and the help that everybody gets in touch and lets me know that it gives to people. So I do feel bad when I miss days. I'm going to let you know a little bit about what I've been doing, because I think it applies to all of us. And so one, I've been super tired, not fretful at night, but just not being able to switch off, falling asleep for half an hour, waking up. And so to the point where almost I was slurring words almost yesterday, and ended up finally getting at least 4 hours, which has been a heck of a lot more than I've been getting for the last 7 days. And so there is that. And I've also been branching out and doing some talking, some public talking to some awesome people, taking the time out of trying to build business and homeschooling the boys to build physical relationships with the people I've been working alongside and cheering on for a long time, and becoming more a part of that structure in the physical presence, let's say. And I think that is important for all of us to do right now, dependent, no matter or dependent on the varying degree of severity we reach. There is going to be a break-in point, and we keep getting closer and closer to that point. And depending on each and every one of our individual actions and collective actions to stand together and say no to tyranny and to genocide, then we, you know, that it all depends on what severity we have to do that with, and how severe that breaking point looks. And so it is important to prepare in all ways, shapes and sizes in the locality that you are in. I've built up such a family that I adore more than words, especially over in America. And it's ironic that I'm so far away from them. And so there's that, but we do have to build relationships with the awesome and beautiful people around us too, in our locality, people that we can trust, alliances that we make, you know, for the ability to share food and services and just be in company with one another is very, very important. So I urge you all to, if you haven't already been acting on that, to act on that and take the steps, the brave steps. If there isn't a group like that around you, you know, make one. You be the one, you be the key as to how you go about branching out to people who have like minds, like hearts, but are maybe waiting for something somewhere by someone to be set up. It's really, really imperative and important. And even taking out the severe breaking point that I'm speaking about, even from a point of view of us going forward, to be able to build new and better systems, it is going to take an amount of collective camaraderie and the ability to debate with one another, to come to shared ideals. And this is where we went wrong, in handing it over to these people who have made themselves so powerful via taxpayers' money to make the millions and billions that they now are in bed with the corporations so much that we have been under corporate rule for some time, being swayed in each and every direction. Part of taking our power back will ultimately, no matter what about the breaking point or whatever else, will ultimately be determined on the structures that we can build with one another, and the wisdom that we can have in knowing the importance of that and giving power to that. So to act now is to be in good timing and to continue any actions you've been taking in this direction, you're on time. You're right on time. So that is where I've been rushed off my feet in doing so. So this is me back, and it will be me back on my birthday and a very, very special lady's birthday, Susie, who we love and adore collectively on this platform and various other platforms. She's family, she's a sister, she is my soul goddess, and I love you, Susie. I appreciate you more than you know. For anybody who hasn't the pleasure to know her, she is the bridge, a foundational structure of a person who brings people together, so psychically intuitive, and just all around a beautiful balance of determination, wisdom and strength, but then that soft, gooey, lovely love and compassion that she has for other people's welfare. So, mwah, to you. So this is, my birthday, and it is the 25th of May, 2021. Take what resonates as it is general and leave what does not. I appreciate you all being here and listening. Sharing really helps, and thank you to all of the new clients who've taken on board, especially over the last week, because you help me sustain my family. I help you with your guidance, and you help me do that. So for the tarot readings, the spiritual coaching, which I'm so chuffed about because we can get so much done in that, thank you. So for the 25th of May 2021, we have on the bottom of the deck the Queen of Wands, Fire Queen. So this is passion, creativity, fertility. This is a beautiful energy, and it is an energy of the divine feminine. She is of a shy nature, and I think this is shown in a lot of artistic people, creative people. Until they get in their flow, they can be a bit shy and reserved and a bit too judgmental of their creations at first. But when you get to know them, when you get to see their process, you see how confidently they mold and create either a structure of something or paint something, and they're just in flow. They are a dancing flame. And so it's important that you grow this flame today. It's important that you, whether you are male or female, literally blow air onto this flame, make it grow. Allow yourself to fully develop and envelop yourself in a creative process that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you have achieved something, not just for the sake of achieving, but something beautiful. This will lift you up, it will feed you, and this divine feminine energy, particularly in the females, is very much in wanting of this today. There's a void to be filled today in that divine feminine energy. So to be able to be fully into this creative process, whatever that might be for you, it might be the creative structuring of you, maybe trying out a different style, maybe, trying out a different type of meditation, maybe trying out a different type of ritual, something that you feel you are sculpting yourself into, this newness, this new divine feminine energy that's coming forward with all of your new wisdom and growth that continues to grow. The more you grow your flame, the more you speak wonderful words to this divine feminine energy, this creative part of you, the more wisdom you grow in, the more abilities you have to create and be this new you. A lot of you are getting on this feels like new train of self-development, and this is a beautiful thing and should be given reverence and should be allowed to grow. And so give air to your fire today and stoke that flame. Now with this divine feminine energy, you see she has the sunflower, so this symbolizes the wanting of peace, the wanting of the betterment for herself, but those around her also. This is a truly compassionate and beautiful energy. And so be compassionate to yourself first and foremost, and see what you draw in, this beautiful, peaceful, loving energy. And so we've got this, she's got the staff that is her structure. She's holding onto it. It's something that represents her, and she creates things that represent her. You see that she has the relaxed knee here, and she has this cat, this goddess here. And this is a black cat for good reason. It in this card, in this energy, represents the dark womb of the divine female, and that dark womb is a creative portal, where it is, as Manly P. Hall described, the dark womb unmanifest, where all creation can be seen. And so this black cat, always in front of the knees here, is a representation of being very divinely sacred about this divine space, being very particular about what goes down there in this creative space. So it represents all that, you know, you hold dear to being feminine, and it is something to not be given away frivolously or without discernment, but to be nurtured and given reverence to. It's a really powerful day for the females out there to do some real womb healing, going back into every cycle that womb has had, that has had an impact on you as a being in entirety. So going back in meditation, and this is a beautiful meditation that I do with people, in that going back in meditation to look at the impactful times, and more often than not, there's a need there to look at the more negatively impactful times that has then gone on to structure the being that houses this portal, this womb. And being able to transmute yourself through that energy, and to be able to clear yourself of debris up in there, is really powerful in redefining and resculpting self, not from a painful root, but from a root of just knowing thyself more, accepting yourself more, and loving yourself throughout. And this is exuded then, and people see it and notice it. This is when this flame, this wand, really gets so bright that it cannot be ignored. It attracts in good, it attracts in things and people from a place of power, from a place of being sacred and seeing yourself as a divine vessel. And the woman can be described as a vessel with the womb. It carries, it nurtures, it delivers. And so from this space, it's a powerful space that we are continuously delivering from a female perspective, whether that is a baby, or whether that is a cycle, or whether that is through the manifestation, and we're doing that from divine feminine space. So it makes sense to make this foundation, this portal, a portal that is cleansed and pure and whole, so that you can then be acting out from a whole place, from a balanced place, from a place of a healed acceptance of what has been, but a higher expectation of what is to come. And a lot of women will find a lot of power in this regarding future relationships, what they attract in the first place, let alone what they will put up with. And so it builds a space of sovereignty too, where you are acting as a sovereign being with choices, not with demands, but with choices, and with flow, and attracting in another whole person to your whole person is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So there's a lot of healing and practicality, as in finding the right relationships, friendships around you, having the reverence from your children. You'll find a lot of womb healing can help correct behavior from children, because you just carry yourself differently after going through the womb healing and being in the continuous process of doing so. You demand a level of respect without even saying any words from this space, that is no longer degraded, defiled, or ignored. And so it is a really powerful space to work on yourself from. And we have the Five of Swords. Yeah, we would, wouldn't we, in these energies? The Five of Swords speaks to, you know, nasty conflict, nastiness. Now, speaking to the females, there is a lot of energy today regarding this bitchiness, this pulling down from males and females alike of you and the new definition you have for you, the way that you're presenting yourself in this new way from this new platform. And basically, I've got one big cure for this, and it's a go fuck yourself. You know, maybe you will do some womb healing of your own if you do so. Now, excuse my French, but these energies, you know, they need to work on themselves. And yes, we can love them through that. But a lot of the energies around today that would represent this know what they're doing. They just want to feed off other people, either through feeding off their downfall or feeding off of their them being upset. And that is happening as above, so below. On the collective stage, the so-called powers that be, they are really having a feeding frenzy right now. And today, for some reason, they go at it even more, or try to. But the more that you can stand in your sacred space of divinity and sovereignty, you can start to see this as a repetitive test that has just come up that allows you to show yourself how much you've grown, how much you've balanced out, how much more wisdom you have by the way that you deal with this in a far more effective and mature way. And so this is the energy that the Queen of Swords comes in, the first card. She comes in, and this is the Gemini. I am a Gemini, and this is the Queen of Swords, where this is a more gentle and more compassionate energy, a more shy energy in general. There is this energy coming in with this Queen of Swords, which the Queen of Swords, she knows the sword suit, and she got to the throne of the Queen of Swords by going through what I think is the harshest suit in the deck, in the minor arcana, in that it is the thoughts, the words, the wisdom. It is the intellect, and people use this against us, and we use this against ourselves. Our thoughts are always attacking ourselves. We always, even when you learn how to get them in check, that is a continuous process, because there's always a barrage coming in from the outside anyway. And so with the Queen of Swords, coupled with the energy of the Queen of Wands, this speaks to balancing out that nature of the divine nurturer, the divine carer, with the divine wrath, when the Queen of Swords is challenging the Five of Swords. You know, it's basically they can put you down with your words. And this is where you can do that, either by doing what the Queen of Swords is good at, by just completely not giving it any energy, basically starving their flame of oxygen of words, you know, so that it just dies out. Or what the Queen of Swords also does really well when challenged with this, and is able to lay it out. You know, the only reason people can use your sculpting of self and definition of self against you is if you are not totally and completely grounded and confident in it. When you're totally and completely grounded and confident in it, there's very little they can do. They can call you a conspiracy theorist. They can call you an idiot. They can call you a racist when you're not. They can call you prejudiced when you're not. And so they can do all of that. And basically the Queen of Swords will come at it and say, I don't accept that. I don't accept that because I'm not this, and you lay it down word for word what they've just said. I feel that you are judging me, which you are. And so I do not give you the permission to judge me, and so on and so forth. And so you cut it dry by just not shying away, not being, reserved in your answer to this kind of challenge, but going at it. So those are the two options that the Queen of Swords definitely comes in with today, with a lot of power. So almost think of yourself as, especially the females, you are the divine shield maiden to the boat, the womb, the divine womb of the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Swords being the divine warrior, protector, shield maiden to the wand, to the womb that is the divine feminine Queen of Wands. So basically think of the Queen of Swords entering into the cat, you know, and basically standing in that root, that base of you, and knowing who you are, and be confident enough to either just let them go at it and give it no oxygen, or put it down flat to them and call it out there and then. And so it's powerful energy. So we've got the next card as clarifying the Queen of Swords. We have the 7 of Coins. So this speaks to, don't let any dimwit come in today and try and challenge you for what you've worked real hard to build up. Don't let anybody come in thinking they can just come and feed off your hard work or feed off your achievements, either of your definition and sculpting of self, or of your physical attainments through that. Don't let anybody come in and try and dampen your flame and steal some pentacles while you are worried about what somebody else is thinking. This is not for them to take. It's not for you to give. It is for you to be sovereign and be divine and recognize need from genuine need, from genuine, you know, narcissism, narcissistic behavior. This goes from the collective stage 2. It is time to stand. And in particular, with this being a very divine feminine energy, it is time to stand as parents. They're getting really hot now with the energies of building up to what I said and warned about a year ago and a bit before that as well, that they're coming for the kids big and hard with these, you know whats. And so with these, you know whats, it is important that right now we start making stands. Write in letters, emails every single day to school boards, to head teachers, and stand and even take your children out of that system if need be, because it's going to get hot and intense, and we can make it get less hot and less intense by not just feeling like the battle is over. If there's anything we can fight to the bitter end about, it is our children, what we created from the womb and birthed into this reality. And we won't let any dimwit around us or above us come in and try and take that which we have nurtured and worked so hard to keep safe. And so that is a really strong energy for today too, to stand in your divinity and sovereignty as the guardian of children. Now we have the Hermit card as the next card, and this is the internal warrior. This is about going within and not being afraid to look at the deepest, darkest corners of self, and being able to know that you are strong enough to transmute even the most painful past wounds, to be able to look at them and draw the lessons and gifts out of them, but to be able to then let them go. There's a lot of power in just being able to observe something in its rawness, in its entirety, in order to be able to let it go. If we don't do that, we don't fully know what we're letting go. And so there is a part of us that clings onto it. This warrior is guided by the inner tuition, the inner light. I always see him as blind and dumb, in that he does not need to see or speak with the eyes or with the mouth. He just holds up this lantern, again, this flame, and takes the sometimes perilous journey, or it feels like perilous journey when we haven't been on board with being in continuous healing of self and observation of self. There is everything to do today about the inner works affecting the outer works. And so where we do have to take action right now on the physical, in the physical reality, it's important right now that we do remember and recognize the real core truth, and that is, it's the inner works that affect the outer works. So if we are not working to make sure we are damn clear from things that have wounded us, if from things that have affected us or have give us a slightly skew with perception of things, then we cannot expect that the outer world will reflect any different. So for us to take this inner journey and be in continuous communication with that is within, even the most uncomfortable things to look at and observe and transmute, this is where we will affect the outside in a positive way if we are able to embody the energy of the Hermit. It's number 9. It speaks of Tesla's 369, the magic of 369, and 9 being this field of opportunities, field of potentials that can be entered into. It is perfection, and in this field of possibilities, it always makes me think of a womb type place, in that such creations can be built from what seemingly looks like nothing, like small seeds and a small spark to animate the creative process of a child, a beautiful being, a boat that can house a soul. And so we see that this has great potentials for us, in that for the recognition and wisdom of this to take place on mass in the collective, we would be not in this position that we are in, for sure, with these so-called powers that be, these goons, these dimwits. But with so many in the collective that are so detached from self, so far apart from knowing themselves and knowing the true power and the esoteric natures of the different parts of the potentials in this reality. Imagine if all of a sudden it was just switched on for them. If it was just switched on to say, you can absolutely direct the outside and affect the outside by 1 second. Sorry, that was a long pause. Hopefully you'll not feel it, because I'll have just popped back on. So that inner journey, that being brave enough to know self and be able to get into balance no matter what you are facing on the inner journey with the Hermit, has a huge impact, the only impact on what is happening in your reality on the outside. And of course, there's balance to this. There is a case for this absolutely having the full and entire impact on the outer reality, but also in your individual life. But also in this realm, there is this part of being connected as the all. And so where there are many right now that are not strong enough to face this inner journey, that feel it's too perilous, that they'll externalize everything and anything, which is why we're seeing such triggered events right now, such triggered people, such divided people, even attacking their own sexuality, their own sacred, divine sexual parts. We're seeing that in a huge way. 1, because it's manipulated from the so-called powers that be. 2, because there are many people that are not willing or able to face their inner wounds, to be able to recalibrate and reestablish themselves in their root, to let go of all of the conditioning that's been going on from parents, from schools, from governments alike. And so we are seeing that on the wider stage, and ultimately we are affected by that in varying degrees, because this is that part where we are connected, and the numbers game wins all. And so it's important that each of us show as an example how to go within, how to not be in a triggered or reactionary mentality, because we are absolutely well and truly grounded in our inner self, in our root, knowing thyself, knowing who we are, and being accepting and in love and loving of who we are. And so what I was saying before I had to pause the video was, can you imagine where there are a lot of people that are showing their wounds, showing their triggers very much so on the stage, Can you imagine if those people suddenly just got a gift switch, you know, to say you can manifest like a magi, like a master, like a god, like a goddess. You can create your outer world absolutely right now, without them going through this journey, without them finding their way to this hermit energy. If they were to enter into this 9, this field of possibilities and potentials, can you imagine the perilous chaos we really would be facing in the reality that we're living in right now? And to a great extent, false power, false switches have been switched on for these people that we have allowed to be elevated to these so-called powers that be thrones. We are seeing them able to manifest a reality because they have built systems that see value only in pounds and dollars and whatever else, properties, companies, designer labels. And so it's like another false veil. And so we are absolutely living in their chaos, where they externalize everything that they think makes them divine: power, control, money, cars, powers of manipulation, rank and stature, labels, ego. And so we are living with the manifestations right now of that coming from the so-called powers that be, and in many in the collective that are around us. So it is challenging to stay in your point of center, to be able to continuously weed out anything that has infiltrated your inner sanctum, your inner peace. It is super important right now that we are very discerning regarding sexual relations and who we enter into that sacred act with, for both males and females alike, and equally so. Who we allow ourselves to literally physically interlock with and merge, because you can bet your life that happens spiritually also, emotionally also, mentally also. And you do not want to be left with cords that are connected to you and this person if it is a moment of a lapse in judgment, a lapse in discernment, because it just causes a whole heap of mess, and will cause a whole heap of mess if you're getting yourself into these situations. We get the Temperance card, another major arcana. And so this speaks to the 5, the change point, because it is the number 14. So 1 + 4, 5. And so this is where we see the ability to absolutely become challenged by those things that are trying to cause conflict around us, both within our own mental state and from others on the outside. We are being able to almost have another trial run of getting our skills up to muster. And so this is how to see it, rather than seeing it as a challenge that cannot be met. See it as, okay, I know that I've done this before, and in my wisdom, I know that I can come in with compassion for self, compassion and understanding of the situations or experiences with this Queen of Wands, but also with that beautiful brash nature of the Queen of Swords, who is going to see the truth for what it is and speak it for what it is to self, and if needed, anyone else that needs to listen. So we see that the dragon here is holding the 2 cups here, and it's letting the flow of the 2 cups meet. This is happening above the dragon in the spiritual realm, in the etherical realm. And this is where we can transmute even the most negative energies, both within ourselves, when we are looking at something, for instance, sexual endeavors that maybe we are regretting now, that maybe have had certain consequences later down the line, and they're sort of popping up again in our lives or revisiting our lives, and there's some chaos being caused. That can make us feel uncomfortable. getting to the point of not even being embarrassed in front of self, is at this point where you go into this temperance card and are just able to be in observance and acceptance of the situation that was, but then knowing that you have the ability to transmute the energy from that, to transmute the pain, the guilt, whatever it might be, into that of a stronghold for yourself, into a strength for yourself, a foundation that you can then stand upon, learning from the experience, but not letting the experience demand and control you and who you are anymore. When you do this, doesn't matter what is thrown at you from the outside, because you feel no guilt yourself, because you have been brave enough to release yourself from that. You feel no regret yourself because you've been brave enough to release yourself from that and transmute yourself from that. There's nothing that can be thrown against you, because it loses its strength, because you don't give it any credence anymore. You don't give it any strength anymore. So when somebody's trying to trigger you into a sense of insecurity or guilt, or if you've already transmuted yourself from that state, then there's nothing an ex or anybody else can hold against you as like a threatening tool to make you react in any other way than your strengthened new position and acceptance and loving of self, and being discerning enough to let go of anything that's coming at you that way. We have then the Fool card, and this is where you've come into this 0 point, dwelling within you. It's just gotten dark, dwelling within you, this field of possibilities, of new experiences, new potentials, the ability to manifest the path in front of you as you're walking. I'm seeing a lot of you walking like the cartoon type thing of everywhere your foot touches, something beautiful pops up from the ground, a beautiful flower, or grass is just met with your feet, as your feet walk forward in faith in yourself, in excitement for the new, in excitement for the unknown yet to be seen, to not put the limitations and controls while we are living under such attempted control and oppression and micromanagement of so-called powers that be, and those around us that are well and truly enveloped and absorbed in the narrative. There's a lot of energies out there trying to suck control and create an oppressive state of being when you're in their presence or in their country. So this is where you're different. You're going to shine because you've done this inner path. You could then walk the outer path into the new experiences. You are not in this yearning, needing, wanting, lacking state that many in the collective are, waiting for the next demand, for the next law, for the next bill, for the next control, for the next fine, or for the next fear factor. You are really living a different reality. And it all happened because you went within. It all happened because you recognized the sacredness of you as a being, of you as a soul, of you having this physical experience, and being defined in this reality, in the body that you sit in the face that everybody sees. But your soul shining through your eyes because you have really connected back with self. And so this just being one of the aspects of you, now you really are connecting with the multifaceted aspects of you, the multi-layered aspects of you, and it is powerful. And this is where you gain control. You gain control and dominion and sovereignty and stand in your divinity on the inside, and expect fully to do that on the outside. It's how it works. It's how it's done. And so whoever is doing this walk today, go you, be you, enjoy you, and do not be belittled or trampled upon because of the unknown or the fear of the unknown. Be like the Fool, reach that 0 point, that dark womb unmanifest, that dark womb of potentials, that field of possibilities and potentials, and walk with absolute faith in yourself, confidence in yourself, that you can do anything. You faced down yourself in the deepest, darkest corners of you. And because of that, you are now walking with a straighter back, more pushed back shoulders, with your chin held higher, and you are manifesting as you're going along. And this is truly, truly powerful. So, and it's an amazing energy. And we know this because the Justice card, another major arcana, clarifies the Fool card. So you can see here, this would be the heart and the feather, but it's depicted in this one as the fire and the flame. So where your heart is, where your creative space is, how you've sculpted and defined yourself, getting here and getting this with the Fool energy, you can see how light, these feet aren't even touching the ground fully. This is a light foot, it's a light being, in that it is released of the anchors of guilt, of controls, of oppressions, of labels that would have usually weighed it down, because it has gone into the depths of self and grounded self, this being you. Because you have done that, you can literally be as light as a feather. And your passions and the root of you, your heart, absolutely in balance with that. You are of light. You are a light being, a light warrior, a light worker. You are light of foot in this physical experience. No matter what chaos is going on around you, you find that lightness, you find that ability to float through life, manifesting as you go. And so this is where justice is really served. This is where we really do meet justice. We meet the justice that in the depths and the core of us, we feel we deserve. And so when we're asking ourselves, how come these so-called powers that be, these evil, evil beings keep getting away with literal murder? How can they keep doing that? Because genuinely, they are a different type of being. They do not feel the guilt, so they are light of foot. They do not feel the empathy or the guilt for what they do, so they are light of foot. So they keep meeting the justice that they feel they deserve. And for us to wait and trust in plans and whatnot, and trust in the justice system, the systems that their ancestors built, isn't going to work, because they're going to keep being met in predominant numbers with favor, because they're not anchored down by any of the things that we have allowed ourselves to be anchored down for too long with. And so the way to turn this around would be for us to recognize that our young, ourselves, our elderly, our nature should not be treated with such disrespect, should not be met with such abuse. Us being in our divine and sovereign nature and knowing of self absolutely gives us those same balanced scales that we keep saying, well, how come I know that person is horrible, yet keeps being met with favor? Because they fully expect favor. They are light of heart. They don't feel the guilt for whatever it is that you perceive they should feel that guilt for. But you even feel that oppression by looking at those scales and saying, why doesn't that person get this? When you turn it around more by doing this inner journey and feeling the same lightness of foot as these people who don't ever seem to get their justice. It's at this point that we would then change the collective scales, because if enough people would do this in the collective, those scales would be raised higher. And so there would be far less getting away with it, because there would be far less people allowing them to get away with it, which would then put them out of favor, because they wouldn't be getting what they are after. They wouldn't be getting after the agendas that they're after, like, you know, the eugenicist type agenda, if we weren't being allowing ourselves to be fooled by them because of the fears that are anchoring us down in the collective, being tricked into getting something done because of fears that are anchoring ourselves down. This is where those people aren't on this fool's journey. They're not light of foot. They've got lots of chains and anchors holding them down. And so their justice is being met. This is the deeper meaning of justice. And when we have been so enveloped and synced into the system of justice that we've been brought up to and conditioned to appreciate and feel safe within, this is where this feels very odd to say, but it's just how it works in this realm anyway. And so that is the reading for the 25th of the 5th, 2021. I appreciate you all. I'm going to spend time with the family and do the birthday thing and have a good day. You know, Abby's made an awesome cake. I'm going to be putting pictures up of that on my social media stuff, because she's got some plans to go ahead with something regarding that. A business endeavor, so asking to put out favor towards that for her, positive vibes for her abundance and security in her creative process that she's finding a real skill set for. And that is that. I love you all, appreciate you all. Again, sorry I haven't been around, and sorry this video was a bit broken up. I hope I managed to do it streamlined enough by the time I got back from pausing it. And I'll be back real soon. Mwah. Susie, you know, give me that, and I love you on your special day too. Thank you so much. Mwah.